So obviously we have the Yeshua HaMelech Yoda. And I was making like a camp video before, a long time ago. And I got robbed of my material. So I'm making another camp video. I just want to be able to do these videos. And basically it's my translations on the tribes and deeper meanings. And if you look at the Mount Moshe camp, to the south would have been the Sea of Red. If you were at Shiloh in Israel, to the south would have been the Sea of the Dead. Now, normally the south, you're supposed to have life in the south. So you would have what? Greens, the beautiful sky, the blood, whatnot. Even the red heifers were blue. Bulls were red heifers. Some of them. Some of the red heifers, just the mindset of them were blue. So you have Red Bulls. Remember, like the Red Bull drink, it gives you wings. You have, and this is off of Yisrael. This isn't off all the Yod He Vav He's. Every single Yod He Vav He had their own type of business. But there was a very special Yod He Vav He that had 12 B'nai coming from Yisrael that developed a camp to understand how all of this operates. You had certain families that went with certain shemos and certain keys. Some families were inserted, and they were from the families of Yahweh, 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 Yewah, and Yowah. Now, Yowah's family is no longer in existence. Most of Yowah's family died. However, Binyamin is more numerous than most of the other tribes. And you've got so many different aspects to this that you need to learn and study. And when you're to the south, you have to think of what was ruling of the south. So if you had a Red Sea to the south, you know who's going to be in charge of the south. If you had a Dead Sea, because in Shiloh a lot of people were dying, then there were dead to the south. But I want you guys to think of like Mount Moshe, where to the south you have blood and people need to be strong with all the bulls. It's like you should see in southern areas more bulls and cattle. Now up north, more frigid, cold, gray, blue, the sky, raining down water, plenty of other stuff. But there's an aspect of trying to understand how all of this operates spiritually, and then how this operates as a business. The business can be built. The business can be done. It's just you're going to see a different side of people for every single color that they choose. Because when you're circumcised, it matters what color banner that you wear. If you're wearing the banner of dawn, you're going to have dawn's perspectives. If you're wearing the banner of Rubain, you're going to have Rubain's perspective. But this only matters when you're circumcised. If you're circumcised, it is you'll feel the effects of each banner that you wear. However, you won't be controlled by any mind unless you specifically palal or pray to that mind. You could breathe a certain name and you'll speak like that name. If you're still Chaim with your Nefesh, or your being of connected with the Shemo, that that is reigns over the other Shemo, which is Ehyeh, and Yeshua HaMelech Yehuda being connected. So you'll breathe these other minds to life that once lived. God once was a living person. Rubain was once a living person. But you pray to these names. You worship these names. I'm telling you now, you'll begin to go bald. You're not going to have your full set of hair. And if you get tattoos or these if you get the tattoos, you're going to get, according to this, you won't be of light anymore, you'll be of darkness. So the whole thing is, if you're part of this family and you decide to leave family and you leave with a tattoo, you're going to be mixed with darkness. And yes, it's exactly as it sounds. You look at Exodus, you see that Yisrael is not mixed. All the B'nai here were light skinned. You see what my skin color is? That's what the B'nai here were. And that's how it is with the Hindus. That's how it is with the Chinese. That's how it is with the Japanese, the Shintos. Light skin. You go to China, you'll be disillusioned if you think they prefer dark skin. If you go to India and you assume that if you're dark skinned that they're going to like you, you'd be incorrect. If your skin is black and you're circumcised, you're pulled towards a dark mind and a dark being, and you're constantly having to struggle. And it takes so much more to struggle to break free from that and to become light. So that way your family isn't enslaved. So my advice to you is to try to be the light of the world no matter what. Even if your skin tone's dark, even if you're under agreements where your mind's constantly twisted, don't let yourself fall down. If you're already of the light, if you're the Or, don't be afraid. If these people choose to die, if they choose to be Behemoth, it's their choice. But these camps, there's so many lessons to be learned from this. And a lot of people don't learn this much. A lot of people can't think this far ahead. And they don't see the workings of all of this. And when you're part of Yehuda, and I did some of the work here, I gathered in some of Levi. I gathered Levi in, and some of Rubain. But I didn't gather everyone in. So the most important part is if the aspect of God, and if you're looking into this stuff, there's secret messages, but nothing's advertised. So if you look in certain scriptures, you'd be understanding of what each tribe's duty is. And gathering animals into the ark, but you got to try not to view people as animals and as objects. That's like my lesson to you guys. Even though it's so difficult to remove your mind from that aspect, it's one of the most difficult things to do if your mind's been like that since you're a kid, is to say the person down the road, even though there's animals are eating animals all the time. Wolves are eating sheep. Wolves are eating moose and cows. And everything seems to be killing itself in nature. We have to try to separate ourselves from that. And though chicken tastes delicious, though beef tastes delicious, though some days you want to go out on a grill and you just want to be embraced in the smoke, because you remember what went up in the smoke. And if you don't know any of this stuff, that's okay. But my point being is, there's sometimes where you enjoy yourself in this life and you know that you're separated from the animals. And there's other points where you're trying to say what's the boundaries of, like, what are we going to be kadosh with. But this is basically how the business operates. And this is just one business, one organized business. But it's nothing like how the Hindus have their business operating in all these other places. Because most of the time, if you look at ancient Egypt and all these other places, there was a corpse that was put inside that people worshipped. Out here, if you've noticed in the camp, at the very center, inside the Kadosh of Kadosh, there was Chaim that was worshipped. But you wouldn't know about that because on the outside, people started to worship the dead. And then further out, animals like cows and other stuff. So each one of these camps has a different viewpoint. You had the fire mountain of Mount Moshe to the east, and the rivers mountain that led to the south at Shiloh. And then up north, obviously, you have Dawn, and not to be confused with other Shemo, but Dawn is not as chesed as the other individuals. And Naphtali, most people won't name their B'nai Naphtali because they don't get the same results they get if they name their B'nai Dan. Plus the fact of his abilities and blessings. So I don't want you to view all this as like a video game, but if you could judge your people and the serpent in the way, whoops, I misspelled that. Well, it's like I said, this is just, I'm working on this now. I've got the other tribes I got to add onto this. And as time goes on, you'll learn more and more about this stuff. And maybe one day you guys will get, I mean, this is like a shortcut for you guys to be able to learn this stuff. But this is definitely going to help you grow in your understanding of how all of this was built off of Aya.